Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Alexander Astrologer and Intuitive. When we are going to be talking about Venus and Sagittarius, Venus being the planet of love, beauty, money, pleasure, going into the sign ruled by Jupiter. And we're going to be talking about what that means for your sign and a little bit about the general astrology around Venus and Sagittarius. So make sure if you haven't already that you have subscribed to the channel, that you turn on notifications so that you don't miss an episode. And if you're listening to the audio only version, make sure that you've subscribed there, given it a 5-star review. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to the podcast. Okay, first things first. Venus will be in Sagittarius from October 17th through November 11th. So it's October 22nd, the first day of Scorpio season, as I record this. And so Venus has been in Sagittarius for a few days already. And I have to say, I felt that ingress pretty significantly as soon as she went into Sagittarius. I woke up and I was like, wow, I feel a lot lighter. So, I love my girl Venus in Scorpio, but she can struggle a little bit in Scorpio. Venus in Scorpio, like I mentioned in my previous podcasts, is the sign of her detriment. She has fewer resources in Scorpio. It can just be a more challenging placement for her, even though I personally love that placement. But the sky has been so tense lately that Venus going into Sagittarius, I just kind of felt this big relief, essentially. And, this is because, this is a fire sign Venus. This is like a passionate, action oriented, dynamic Venus. And it's also Venus in a sign that's ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is this planet of expansion and wisdom, but also like fun. And especially Sagittarius is this energy of like adventure and spontaneity and travel and like the meaning of life and philosophy. And so with Venus and Sagittarius, the sort of collective energy in the air, there's a little bit of a taste of this. If it's like, let's just try something. Let's like enjoy romance. Let's enjoy a little passion. Let's like create experiences. Let's create memories. Like this attraction to kind of more optimistic, kind of jovial, outgoing energy, which is very Jupiterian, right? I have to say though, Venus, while in Sagittarius this time, is going to be dealing with Saturn, which does throw a little bit of cold water on this sort of Venus and Sagittarius party, right? And so while Venus is still in this kind of more free-spirited energy, she's going to be dealing with kind of making maybe significant choices. Venus rules relationships and partners of all kinds. It can rule money and finances as well. So, like things like established partnerships or whether we want to partner with someone or looking at our budget or whatever Venus may rule in your particular chart. And we'll get to that a little bit more when I talk about the horoscope for your particular rising sign. Venus will square Saturn exactly around October 28th, but we're going to kind of feel like the build up to this until then, especially the closer to that date, especially the closer to October 28th that we get. So it's like Venus will be dealing with choices right now. Saturn rules limitations and delays and commitments. And so it's sort of like Venus might be like, well, if I do this, then I might have to give up that over there. Or if I, enjoy this and take this action, then I might have to restrict something over here. Or it might be like the weight of like whether or not to make like a serious commitment or like, serious choices kind of in relationships. Or, the sort of or like the weight of our already established partnerships, maybe looking at like budgeting for certain things or just different like limitations on the Venusian pleasures and love and like, the things that we enjoy about life. There is some kind of restriction or having to make a serious kind of cautious decision around all of this that Venus and Sagittarius would prefer not to necessarily deal with, but it is right there. After October 28th, Venus moves toward Jupiter. And so Venus is going to be opposite Jupiter. Jupiter is that planet of expansion and wisdom that I mentioned, rules Sagittarius. Venus and Jupiter are both the benefics of the zodiac, meaning that Venus and Jupiter are both planets that want to affirm, to expand, to bless. Like they're like they're like the fun party planets, basically, of astrology. So after Venus gets through that square to Saturn, she's going to oppose Jupiter. And while there is the kind of this sort of back and forth kind of balance, and sometimes an energy of kind of overdoing sort of this party energy when Venus does oppose Jupiter, it does also just kind of bring some optimism and like lightness into our sky. That's going to be on November 3rd, which is just, that's 2 days before our presidential election in the United States. Our skies are going to be pretty the energy, I think, is going to be really tense because of the ongoing Mars Pluto opposition, which you can hear about in the last episode of the podcast that I did. And I will talk about more. I will talk about that more with the when I talk about the new moon in Scorpio. So, but I do think that might bring some enthusiasm, some lightness, some optimism, and kind of, and some, frankly, some generosity, also energy to our skies in general, and maybe even some idealism as well, because Sagittarius can be very much about like living up to ideals, fighting for. That can also be very much kind of like lifting up underdog, fighting for underdog kind of energy. Not that Venus is not that Venus is necessarily like fighting energy, but this Venus opposing Jupiter on November 3rd is very much kind of giving to me rooting for underdog kind of energy. So but anyway, so there is some optimism with this Venus opposite Jupiter energy on November 3rd. So let's talk about maybe a little bit about what this Venus transit might mean for you. It doesn't have to be life-changing energy. But let's talk about where you might be able to attract certain things into your life, looking at maybe where Venus may smooth the road for you or attract some kind of like lucky opportunity. So let's go ahead and talk about that. Okay, so remember that for these horoscopes, I do think it's most accurate if you are looking for your rising sign, as that's how astrologers write horoscopes to begin with. So I would look for that. If you don't know your birth time, then you can either listen for your sun or your moon, whatever resonates more. If you really want to include your sun or moon along with your rising sign forecast, you definitely can. But I recommend listening to the rising at least first. Okay, so we're going to go in order here, and remember that you can always skip ahead to the timestamps in the comments on YouTube or the notes on wherever you are listening to this podcast. And then you can look and see what the timestamp is for your sign. So you don't have to listen to everyone else's stuff. You can just skip right to yours. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so I can kind of have a visual while I'm doing this. And if you're on YouTube, you can kind of follow along and see kind of what the hell I am pointing at. So for Aries rising, Venus is going to be moving through your ninth house. So this could be a time when we could be just like enjoying kind of like learning something new, something connected to higher education or spirituality. Perhaps even like getting, just enjoying some like social experiences with people from other cultures. Maybe we might be enjoying travel around this time. Remember that Venus is going to be in this part of your chart until November 11th. Also, Jupiter being, that planet of expansion, kind of being situated in your third house right now as well. It's really kind of stimulating the mind, communication, travel stuff here. So that could be an interesting thing for you. Venus will square Saturn in your 12th house on October 28th. So there might be some themes, like you might have to sort of contend with whatever has been you've been sort of dealing with in your subconscious mind. Um, because Saturn going through your 12th house can feel like, I'm gonna say maybe you've been dealing with some sort of like deeper psychological things, or been dealing with even fears that have been going on. So that might kind of dampen that kind of enthusiastic party. But I feel like once that square clears, there's that kind of road is going to be open for more like enthusiasm stuff, that third and ninth house. For Taurus rising, we have Venus moving through your eighth house. This is good for actually if you need a loan, credit card, if you need to apply for, frankly, money that isn't like yours, like as a paycheck, investments, drawing on your 401k, getting a hold of other people's money in general, like joint sort of finances. You could receive news that your partner has like gotten a promotion or something here during this time. But whenever you are trying to like attract capital, other people's resources, um, maybe draw clients to you if you are a freelancer, because this house does rule your clients' money. Frankly, this can be a pretty good money month. I would say Venus will still be squaring Saturn at this time, so I would maybe take I would maybe consider whatever you are doing financially right now, that you plan for the future, that you don't take out anything that's like too big if you're like looking at a loan or a credit card or something, and kind of like make like responsible choices. But still, this can be a money time for you, or at least just kind of helping you draw more money to you, because it's opposing Jupiter. So this could also be stimulating just like bringing in money for you as well, like money that is income, that actually is a paycheck, because you do have Jupiter, that planet of expansion, sitting in your second house right now. Jupiter is retrograde right now though too. So you could be like reconsidering your worth, your value, like how much you're actually worth, or kind of reconsidering like sort of spending or something else at this time as well. But it does look pretty positive for money, but I would say just be constructive with your choices. Make good choices. For Gemini rising, Venus in Sagittarius is going to be moving through your seventh house. So bringing some improvement to partnership relations. If things have been sort of tough with relationships or partnerships, this can kind of smooth the road for you here to sort of work through something with someone. This can be good about attracting new partnerships, or sort of up leveling something from kind of just like friendly romantic thing to something more solid and secure. You really might be thinking about they're like, Venus in Sagittarius here again, like there is that weight of Saturn. So we really might be considering like, okay, if we go into a partnership, like what does that look like? What does that feel like? Or maybe even just considering, we might even be considering like relationships with clients or business partners, or maybe even our relationships with authority figures or bosses here. I'm not saying like a romantic relationship, but like there could be like relationship building here, or just thinking about, again, there's a lot of responsibility, like limitation sort of stuff around partnerships for Venus and Sagittarius for you this time. Or like you're just taking your relationships very seriously. But either way, I do feel like you're going to be attracting some helpful energy to your seventh house. So partnerships of all kinds, in a way that's going to kind of help you expand overall here. If you are in business for yourself, this actually might be a good time to promote yourself a little bit too. For Cancer rising, Venus is going to be moving through your sixth house. So until November 11th here. So this is a generally good time to kind of refresh health routines, to take care of your physical body. If you are looking for work, this can be a good time to sort of put your resume out there to begin applying for jobs, or to be seeking extra work. You might be able to sort of I cannot talk. You might be able to this is going to be helpful energy for securing like a new work contract, a new gig, something with your work. This is opposing Jupiter in your 12th house too. So I'm going to say like health, whether it's spiritual health and mental health, kind of gets a boost here. It's sort of like whatever boosts you are getting or whatever you are attracting might be behind the scenes or a little bit, or it might not be super glamorous, but it's going to pay off for physical and spiritual mental health as well. Um, Also keep in mind that Venus is going to be squaring Venus will be squaring Saturn in that ninth house until about especially around October 28th. You know, I don't really know what to make of this. I'm going to say that Saturn going through your ninth house, there's been like a sort of longer term energy here around clarifying your beliefs around your spirituality, your philosophy, with I think far fewer folks. It could be maybe even some like issues sort of with like legal stuff. But I'm going to say with this Venus square Saturn energy in general, I would say there's sort of commitment around health things, or maybe even feeling like that sort of weight of commitment to your work or to your job. However, I do feel like if things have been a little tougher at work or tougher around health, Venus going through your sixth house will bring some general improvement for you. For Leo rising, Venus is going into your fifth house. That's fun. Fifth house, that's romance, sexual pleasure, creativity, children. Anything that sort of brings us pleasure in life, Venus is going to bring a boost to. This is a time to enjoy hobbies, recreations. This can bring a spark of, some passion into your dating life if you are, or just to your sex life in general. And can really kind of spark creativity here. This is sort of like, just try it. Why not? Let's see what happens, right? This can also improve like relationships with children. Remember, Venus in Sagittarius is a very sort of playful energy, so it's really bringing an energy of play and fire into this part of your chart. This looks like it's maybe possibly just a more social time for you as well, as it's opposing Jupiter in your 11th house of friends and your hopes, wishes, and goals for the future right now. So there is like a little bit of a party energy happening here. I will say there is maybe a consideration of, hey, like if I merge with this person, like romantically, creatively, what are the ramifications here? What are the consequences? Because Saturn is moving through your eighth house. The eighth house is shared finances, but it's also the energy that we share with people once we partner with them. So it's sort of like, what does my energy feel like after I've slept with this person, or after I've collaborated with this person, after I've sort of played with this person, or what are the cost of my creative endeavors? Because you are dealing with some maybe burdens as far as your shared finances, getting your credit together, getting your finances together, or really feeling the weight of sharing energy with your partnerships. So you're going to be considering that in a way. It could be the consequences of sharing money with someone or sharing energy with someone, but that's going to be there until around October 28th, when that energy should kind of clear up a little bit and becomes a more kind of overtly enthusiastic Venus and Sagittarius after it clears that square with Saturn. Virgo, we have Venus will be squaring. What the hell am I talking about for you? Okay. Venus will be moving through your fourth house of home and family. So, this can be a time when you may want to. So, fourth house is home, family, residence, right? So, Venus moving through here can really kind of add some pleasure into simply being at home, into expanding things in the home, bringing some home decoration, home improvement, enjoying time with family. If things have been sort of difficult with family relations, it can kind of help smooth the road, create a little bit of diplomacy here. It can also, one thing I will mention with this Venus Saturn thing is we really might be working on our relationships, whether that's with our partner or with our family. There's an energy of like maybe responsibility toward our family members, or responsibility toward our partners, or kind of resolving some kind of maybe sticky situation with home and family, and also partnerships kind of happening right like within the next few days, especially around October 28th. However, after that, there is some really good interplay between Venus moving through your fourth house and Jupiter in your 10th house of career. Maybe you might be struggling a little bit, maybe to find balance between you might be struggling a little bit to find maybe some balance between these two areas here. But it does, again, there is this optimistic energy when we are looking at home stuff and also career. So, Libra rising, Venus is going to be moving through your third house. This is communication. This is studying things. This is learning. This things having to do with siblings and extended family. So it might be that you just might be enjoying a little bit more travel, not like long distance, long term travel, but maybe like a day trip or two. This is a good time to kind of take a course or take a class. Anything in your communication space, if you have a communication project that you are working on, this can be really, really good energy for that. This also can bring just some like fun with siblings, or you might hear some like good news like related to like a sibling in your life as well. Um, like Aries rising, there's a lot of stimulation with your third and ninth houses. So learning things, communication, the mind, and travel really all seem to be kind of highlighted right now. It may very well stimulate higher education things or travel things, as Venus will be opposing Jupiter in the ninth house of long distance travel and higher education and spirituality. The square for you from Venus to Saturn, it could just be kind of like working out health routine, work routine stuff, and how it fits in your daily life. Because Venus is moving through your third house, and third house really has to do a lot with daily routines and daily rituals. So you really might be figuring out like, how does my work grind fit into my life? How can I fit my to-do list more seamlessly in my life? How can I like enliven my daily routine a little bit? Because Venus is going to bring some more enjoyment to daily routine, kind of mundane correspondence type stuff. But there is this feeling of like, how do I make my work, which might feel a little heavy, or how do I make my health, which might feel a little heavy right now, kind of mesh well? How can I improve on all of these things? Because you have Saturn, that planet of limitation, energy, of limitation, delays, and responsibility, moving through that sixth house of health and work right now. So there is kind of like this balance to be found. But Venus is going to bring a little bit of a spark, I think, into like the more mundane kinds of things for the next few weeks for you. Scorpio, Venus is going to be moving through your second house of money. So this can be a good time to frankly just bring in some more income. To be thinking about, how much am I worth? What is my value right now? I might be doing affirmations on bringing in some more money, bringing in like the flow of income and resources. And this is there's definitely like an interplay between Venus moving through your earned income sector and Jupiter, the planet of expansion, moving through your eighth house of like credit, loans, and shared finances. So there is some good energy here for you as far as money, as far as finances go. Venus will be squaring Saturn in your fifth house of pleasure, so you might have to find find yourself pulling back a little bit on like your frankly your fun budget. Might be like, okay, I have money for this, I don't have money for that. I have time for this, I don't really have time for that. Or you could really be thinking about the consequences and limitations of your your sex life, people that you are in romantic relationships with. There might really be some kind of serious questions around like, okay, do I continue this? What does that mean? Right. So that's kind of what we have going on for you. For Sagittarius rising, Venus is going to be moving through your first house. We love that for you. This is a good time to, really kind of enjoy playing with your appearance, with your wardrobe, with like, with, because first house has to do with identity, physical body, appearance, how you sort of approach life in the world. So it can be definitely a good time to kind of play with that and kind of update things, have some fun with it. It just really brings the energy of this fun-loving Venus energy into your overall personality. So I would say accept social invitations, do things that are spontaneous and fun, enjoy relationships, enjoy a little bit of added magnetism when Venus goes into your sign. It's a good time to put to like throw like a new selfie onto social media or something, because you just have that it factor kind of going on with Venus going through your first house. It is opposing Jupiter in that seventh house of partnership. Collaborations and partnerships have definitely been more of a thing for you since May 2024 this year. There's been maybe been some expansion and some new partnerships, whether it's friendships or like romantic or business happening for you. You're going to be finding maybe some balance with that, maybe prioritizing yourself, maybe, and or kind of finding like a balance between losing yourself in like relationships and kind of finding more of like a balance of like treating yourself a little bit more. There is, that again, that kind of tricky square to Saturn in your fourth house. You may just be really kind of dealing with like your responsibilities at home, frankly. Responsibilities at home, things with home, with house, with living situation. There's work to be done there. There's limitations and responsibilities that you can't quite get out of. Nevertheless, that's not like a thing that totally takes all the wind out of Venus and Sagittarius's sails, but there is that kind of added weight there during this time. For Capricorn, Venus is moving through your 12th house. This is more of a time that you actually might find that freedom, adventure, spontaneity energy when you're kind of getting off the grid a little bit. This could be like, let's go for a hike in nature. Let's get out of the city. Let's get lost in a book in the privacy of our home in our bedroom. Let's get some alone time. Let's get some like rest and retreat kind of vibes going here. There is a pleasure in almost like there's a pleasure and a freedom in the stillness for you these next few weeks. It could also be even having having like relationship stuff kind of going on in secret or behind closed doors as well. Venus will be opposing Jupiter in that sixth house of health and work. So Jupiter has been in your sixth house of health and work and also pets since May 2024. And, maybe there's been some expansion, some more opportunities there. It did go retrograde recently, so we're kind of pulling back a little bit, or we're sort of reconsolidating these things. But overall, it's sort of like when you, I think, boost your spiritual and mental health right now, things in your sixth house, so relating to work projects, coworkers, work routines, as well as your physical health, are going to benefit from that. There's like a harmonious thing going on, more kind of in the unglamorous behind the scenes stuff for you. Venus will square Saturn in your third house. So getting some alone time, getting some rest is going to help clarify your thoughts, clarify your mind, and kind of organize your sort of mundane daily life. Because you having clarity on thoughts and communications, having authority in your communication space, that's something that you're working on while Saturn is in Pisces here. So I would say making time to just get a little spiritual, to have some stillness, getting off the grid a little bit is going to benefit your mind essentially through this transit. Aquarius, Venus is going to be moving through your 11th house from what did I say? When the hell is Venus in Sag again? Let's check my notes, everyone. From October 17th through November 11th. I don't know why I forgot that. Opportunities with friendships, social opportunities, networking things, and even bringing some optimism and like a sense of expansion to like your hopes, wishes, and goals for the future, frankly, i.e. things that you want to manifest essentially right now. That is going to oppose Jupiter in your fifth house. Jupiter has been in your fifth house of romance and fun and children and creativity since May. So this does feel like a social kind of creative time for you, like potentially. I would say I would accept the social invitation if you can. You might kind of bump up against maybe your financial limitations or financial responsibilities during this time, because Venus will square Saturn in your second house of money. So you really might have been thinking about budgeting and like working toward long-term investments, and maybe just things feel a little bit tighter in your financial resources or your income lately. And that might kind of put a damper on social things for you, but you can definitely find some balance here. With Pisces rising, Venus is going into your 10th house of career. This is a good time to be promoting yourself, putting yourself on social media. This is a good time for bosses to sort of take like a shine or a liking to you, make sure that you own your work and that you are like, yes, that's me. I did the thing. That wasn't my fucking coworker who's taking all the credit. It's me, bitch. So this could be a time maybe when you're up for some kind of promotion or raise, or if you're looking for work, this could be a good time to be really kind of out there and applying and like networking. It's also going to oppose Jupiter in your fourth house as well. There could be maybe this sort of you could be trying to find some balance, frankly, between career and work right now. Things are maybe looking more positive in both of these things for you, but just kind of finding that balance might be important. Just because in opposition can mean like a need for balance. Venus is going to be squaring Saturn in your first. So like Venus in Sagittarius, it's like saying yes, positive things in career. And it's also like I can really sort of see you. This is kind of giving stepping up to the plate energy, like not ignoring my responsibilities, owning up to things. And you're not who you were a year and a half, 2 years ago. Since Saturn has gone into your sign, you've really sort of taken on a lot of growth and evolution, and maybe have felt that pinch of like, I'm growing up a little bit. We're going into a second or third adulthood, right? With Saturn, that planet of maturity, going into your sign. So this is really, again, stepping up to the plate for me, owning your responsibilities, and like these blessings that you might be attracting, or more, or frankly, just a little bit more ease. It doesn't have to be like anything life changing into your career sector, is a direct result of the work that you have been putting in. So, that is what we have for you guys. So I hope that made some sense. Hope you enjoyed that little forecast here. Hope you enjoyed Venus and Sagittarius. If you are wanting a more of an in-depth reading, you can find me at dogstarOracle.com, dogstarOracle.com, or my social media, Instagram and TikTok, under the same handle. And I hope to work with you soon. I will see you next week for our new moon in Scorpio episode. So talk to you soon. Happy Venus and Sagittarius, everybody.